Back here on One Bills Live, Chris Brown, Steve Tasker. Happy Veterans Day to all the vets out there. We're out here at Quickfill at 5466 Camp Road in Hamburg for their Operation Give Thanks. So stop on by, check out some of their merch, and a portion of the proceeds go to our veterans in need. But we pivot now to our From the Armchair segment presented by Raymore and Flanagan. Raymore and Flanagan, a proud partner of the Buffalo Bills, and here to do the honors as always is former Bills center Mitch Morse, also host of the Monday Mornings with Mitch podcast. And tough one that they took on the chin last week here, Mitch. And, you look at where they sit now at 6-3. It's a little bit different than the last several years. Still looking up at the New England Patriots in the division. I don't know that really resonates with them because they're just focused on the next game. But what do you think? Does the state of this team right now remind you of any team you were on here with the Bills?
Chris, it does. I was thinking about it last night, and it felt like a similar trajectory to the 2021 Bills. Almost eerily similar in regards to where they were with an early bye week, their wins and losses, and then kind of coming off a very strange 2 to 3 game streak with like a 9-6 loss to Jacksonville on the road, then going to the Jets, kind of giving them the business, and then coming home and just getting our tail kicked by the Indianapolis Colts. And even though you're in the locker room and you try to insulate yourself, it's hard not to hear the noise. And the noise, I felt like that year was insane. And all you can do to insulate it is go back to work, kind of let that piss you off a bit, double down on what you know, maybe have some tough conversations, get a little juiced up, and then just hit the ground running, man. Like, I would love to see this team, much like the 2021 Buffalo Bills, kind of get a little edge to themselves, but also feel like it's an effort situation where it's just us versus the world. And yes, they're at 6-3, which is still a very good place to be. But you're looking up at the New England Patriots. But, dude, you can – like, who cares? Just take it one game at a time. And I know, dude, that's just coach bull, right? But it's the truth, man. It's all you can do. And just come out guns a-blazing.
Yeah, I've said and noted – during my days and my experience, it's always better for the players and the coaches than it is for the fans because you get to go back to work. Let's go back to work and let's fix it and let's start working for the next one. This thing's still rolling and we got to keep up with it. We can't get caught up. We can't spend Monday through Friday like Brownie and I do here and now you too with us of sitting around chewing and chewing over that last bad loss to the Dolphins and thinking about it all the way till Friday and Saturday. They can't. They got to get up and they got to get working towards the next one, this Tampa Bay game. And that makes it, I think, a lot better for the coaches and players, whereas the fans, they don't get that chance. They can't work towards the next one. They still got to think about the last one until the new one kicks off. And that's why players and coaches, I think, have a bit easier time putting the last bad loss to bed in Miami and thinking about this upcoming one in Tampa Bay. Do you agree with that?
I would definitely agree with that. I would be remiss to say that this is definitely not in the back of their minds, though, Steve. I mean, you talk to guys, you'd have to assume, you hear from players after the game, you hear from players the day after the game. They were a little bit embarrassed with how it went, and I think that's such a catalyst sometimes to bringing your best foot forward, bringing a little bit of a little nasty to just the way you carry about your business. I think it's a great palate cleanser, and I know we've said this for a few losses this year, but in division, kind of going down there and all three phases, just if you want to call it what you want, just not going the way they want it to. This was a palate cleanser from the top to the bottom. Coaches are having conversations with coaches, players and players. It is about, the opportunity. These guys were able to flush it yesterday while watching that film. Having today off is like a holy day of rest. And then Wednesday hitting that ground running, dude.
I would say common denominators in the losses, Mitch, I mean, besides, a lack of execution and what other elements you may want to put out there, it's undeniable that all three losses have included turnovers, multiple turnovers. and a lack of energy, lack of urgency, not being able to match the opponent's juice, if you will, in the game. How do you maybe recapture that swagger, and do you have to make plays and make some things happen before that swagger can really take hold?
That's a good point. It's kind of the chicken or the egg situation, right? I found that this team, when they're playing their best, they're loving on each other, man. They're hyping each other up. I had a coach back in the day that said, celebrate every win. And a win doesn't have to be in the win column. And we might have talked about this before on this show, but like when you see a guy get a good block or a tackle or a pass breakup or all these things, like football is hard. Doing your job is extremely hard. It's the standard. It is what it is, but it's extremely difficult. When you celebrate that stuff with your guys, it definitely leads to more execution. And this team is as tight as they get, man. That's just how it is in Buffalo. It's the way it works. Dude, yes, watching the Miami game, those guys were on fire, man. They were making plays. They were talking wild jargon to folks. Dude, find a way to this week push the envelope of energy, push the envelope of nasty while still being able to execute. Because it's contagious, dude. And that's why I just want to see these guys have a little bit of fun, have a little bit of fire. It gets everything going. And this team's got it. These guys really lean on each other, dude. So I just think that they're going to start in practice. There's going to be some tough conversations, and that's going to lead to some execution, guys holding their hands up, being accountable. That's what you want to see out of your leaders. And then you go out there and you stack these moments that you put together in a very intense week with the magnitude of this week is, of course, you don't want to say it's different than any other week, but it absolutely is, right? You want to put an exclamation point on this next game and then find a way to snowball that. And then you just do that by loving on each other and firing on all cylinders, dude.
That'll be made much easier by being at home, right?
Absolutely, it will. It'll be a great challenge if it goes the way they want to find a way to bring that juice. I mean, sometimes my favorite thing to do as a player, and Steve, you can attest to this, was like feeling like it was you versus the world going to an opposing stadium. Find that juice no matter where it is, no matter how it needs to be found. Every day is different. Every day dictates a different way to get that energy and find a way to apply it in the field, dude.
Last one for me, Mitch. The run game has been a means by which the Bills have exerted their will on opponents before. They still lead the league in rushing, even though last week did not go as well. I'm curious first, like, is that the path towards getting back to the kind of winning football we're used to seeing, particularly from the offense? And then second part of that, did you see anything within the scope of the run game that you felt compromised its effectiveness from Buffalo's side of the football? Obviously, Miami was juiced up to play them and shut down the number one rushing offense in football. I'm just curious if there was anything you saw on the offensive side of the ball that led to some of the inconsistency we witnessed. There seemed like, James, who is outstanding with vision and decision-making on when to put the pedal on the floor and when to hang an extra half second to wait for a hole to open up. I don't know that he maximized all the opportunities that he had last week.
Well, yeah, that's a two-part. I'll answer the first part by saying this team is a run-first team, and I know we're hearing all the outside noise about the efficiency of the pass and all that stuff. Well, kind of back to that 2021 season, it was all about this team can't run the ball. They can only pass the damn ball. So, like, it's the nature of the business. To dance with the girl that brought you, and the girl that brought you is the run game. And it was effective, and they weren't able to implement it enough because they were down 13-0 early, and they were in that passing situation. So what can you ask? They had to drop back 40 times, and this isn't a team that's used to dropping back 40 times in a row. Now, that being said, in the run game this week, yes, I thought the Miami defense did a really good job of putting out base personnel when guys weren't expecting it. Spencer's talked about it early in his thing, like, hey, they brought out base defense early, and that surprised me a bit. Call that what it is. Some days you just don't execute, and some days, I'm telling you, dude, it's just like no matter what you do, it just wasn't working. And I don't think there was one person or one scheme that did it. I think everyone had a kind of part to play, and that's the nature of football, man. And does it make it easier to look at it? No. But it goes to the grand scheme of things about just like we know what we can do. We just have to execute to the best of our ability.
Thanks, Mitch.
Mitch, appreciate the insight as always. We'll catch up with you next week.
I appreciate you guys. God bless, man.